PTR, LFR, OMG, WTF, we're back, and this is something a little special here. I have never really seen something like this before. Actually, that's not true, because this same guy who does all this random nonsense in this run did the same thing to me when I tested Sanctum of Domination in LFR. In fact, let's roll the clip. Blood DK particularly looking good. Now, the funny thing here, you see that druid there? That dude's not a tank. That's a bombkin who's joined this, particularly interested in seemingly griefing the group, the new Dreamweaver trait. Very powerful. So there's our second tank there, playing the game at a inordinately high level, and he's just gonna jump off. So yeah, no idea what the hell's going on. The guy does this on the next fight too. Yeah, so it's funny because a lot of the same names are in this group that were in that group, and one of them has the name of somebody you might recognize on YouTube. Really hope they're not just coming in here and trolling or whatever this nonsense is. Dude used to make actual videos. Now he's just a clickbait artist on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to take a look at the raid. Seems like a really nice one, but these clowns are just kind of wasting everybody's time. Apparently there's so much trash that we can't possibly consider fighting it, so they want to try to run through about probably 30-40 mobs of trash and then like onk or do some kind of death skip or some nonsense in LFR. And you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. This is why LFR sucks, because it's not even, it has nothing to do with the PTR. This mentality here where it's just not worth being a part of. I mean, I'm not really even sure what the point of coming on here is if this is how you're going to approach it. Like, you can't probably really tell right now, but that dude has run probably the equivalent of about 500 yards down there, and he's spamming in chat to follow him. But it's just like nobody really takes LFR serious, even on the PTR. And I could see why, because everything in here is just a complete waste of time. Nobody really wants to be in here longer than they have to, and that just should not be what a raid is. I mean, that's not what I would consider a raid. That's not what I would be interested in showing a new player. Like, you know, who's going to come and do a new an LFR? It's going to be a new player. It's going to be somebody who maybe is on the periphery of raiding, somebody who might think about it, but they just don't know how to get into it. They're undergeared, they're underqualified, they're underskilled in some way, and they think this is the place to start. No, this is not the place to start, because you have this kind of stuff going on here. People just don't take it serious. I don't know who is thinking that they're going to do this kind of thing here, but they obviously think they're more important than the content itself, and frankly, it kind of ruins the whole experience. But I highly doubt they're actually interested in that, and I don't really know why you would queue in the first place, because frankly, you can't really learn much here. I did all these bosses. Don't think I really learned a centimeter about any of the encounters. I got to see the raid. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're gonna have some nice images for you here at the end. But yeah, really interesting. I guess the takeaway here is that you know, there's a lot of trash, and maybe if you're you're trying to clear this place out in 10 minutes, then yeah, you might want to try to run by all of it. I really don't understand why we did this or what the purpose of it was. Apparently it's some kind of gauntlet, but like I said, this guy literally trolled the last time I did LFR in the PTR, so very hard to take it serious. And it's far from over. Then we come down here, we basically gotten to where the first boss is, and now there's a bunch of mobs that didn't get killed that have these shields. They're doing like a channel, like a frontal shield, and they're just not moving. I'm not really sure why, but I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go back up and fight them. And all these guys are like, no, skip it, reset it, it's gonna reset. It's like, dude, I mean, I'm just not really sure what the motivation is here. It's like they're trying to power run LFR. To me, the reason I'm in here is because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get some kind of a leg up here. But I get it, you know, that's probably why you test on normal and LFR instead. Or not LFR, if normal, heroic, raid, you know, and mythic as well. You test on that instead. But this is just a lot easier for me to get in here, get some footage and see the bosses. But, you know, unfortunately, it's the same thing. We're just not going to learn anything from the bosses either. Not because anybody did anything stupid, although this is particularly funny. So this guy's like trying to reset the boss without telling anyone, and then, you know, the boss gets aggroed without anybody even noticing, and then now we're fighting the boss. Oh, I get life gripped. Well, what are we doing? Are we fighting it or what? No, a bunch of people are running out. Oh, there goes the bridge. Well, okay, might as well just kill it. I mean, what are we resetting it for? Because we have bloodlust? Yeah, we definitely need bloodlust for this fight. Okay, now everybody's just arguing about resetting and yelling at each other for not dying. What a great, I mean, honestly, this is, I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is probably the least fun I've ever had playing WoW. And this is the main reason why I don't come on the PTR, because this is the kind of people that are on here. There's just not really much to be productive with on here. But anyway, we will take a look at the bosses, because there's 3 bosses in here. They are quite cool. So I don't really know anything about these fights, to be honest, and I'm not going to lie to you. I learned 0 about any of the mechanics. I can take a look at them, potentially describe them, but I have no idea what they do or what they are. So this boss seems to spawn some kind of an orb there. It doesn't look like it has any type of threat window or anything like that. It can just be tacked, and I assume it does something, probably on a higher difficulty, but you can just quickly kill it. It can't be gripped. I tried stunning it and stuff like that. Nothing happened with that. Now there's going to be a lot of dodgeable mechanics. People are doing insane damage as well, by the way. There's going to be a lot of dodgeable mechanics. So we're going to see this right here, this staggering barrage. Well, actually, no, I guess that's not it. It does like this frontal cone, but I just can't really decipher anything about it. And I don't know if we're tanking it at the edge for a reason, but this guy's wildly moving the boss constantly, and you see it does this giant spray. So you're obviously supposed to dodge that, but this dude is the guy who was just pulling all this trash. He's just like tanking it at the very far edge. To me, it seems like you wouldn't want to do that, but maybe there's a reason. And then I recognize the boss is doing this cast, and I don't know who or why it's doing it. It's casting at somebody, and they don't seem to be taking any damage. So, but then it's gonna like blink over there and cast this on that pillar, and I assume that's some kind of like a phase change. Because now we have to kill the boss. It's got a shield on it, and the longer it takes us to kill that, I don't know what the hell that was either, some trinket or something, but it's like, I think it has something to do with the longer it takes to do that, the more damage we take from the mechanic. Because that dude again says something that I don't even know what he's talking about, but yeah, apparently it was supposed to do damage. And now there's these waves, kind of like a ring, kind of. I assume you're probably meant to move through it as fast as possible and don't get caught in it. Maybe on higher difficulty, it's gonna like push you off the platform or something like that. I could see that coming to be the case. But again, it just does not a single point of damage. None of these fights, I don't even feel like you need more than 1 tank. I mean, I didn't taunt once. I just sat here and watched this unfold so I could try to learn the fight, but it's, yeah, I mean, I can't really tell. That staggering barrage especially doesn't seem to be doing a single thing to anyone, so very hard for me to tell. But I see somebody in a seed pod, so who knows. But anyway, these ads keep spawning, so they must have some relevance to the fight. Maybe it has something to do with like an energy bar, something that progresses the mechanics. I don't really know. All I know is that dodging that frontal is actually quite unique, because it's got like a set pattern to it, it looks like. So it's actually kind of important that you pay attention to it. And maybe if you don't react properly, you'll get stuck in it and you'll have to make a big decision. But it didn't seem to like be very dangerous to me, so I was able to just kind of stand in it, and I actually tested it out in a bit to see how much damage it does. So even on LFR, it doesn't kill me, but I'm a tank, so yeah, probably you're gonna have to actually make a decision there. And now again, this disintegration halo, I just don't know. It looks like it might be coming from the areas that she empowered, the spires or whatever those things are, the areas of the backside of the room. And it looks like it puts a dot on us, so maybe the goal there is to just try not to have 2 stacks of the dot, or move, because he did move the boss as the second one was forming, and I think that was potentially to prevent that getting us the second stack. I don't really know. But then once again, going to do another blink here, and this is now at 28%, so it's possible that it might be like 90, 60, 30 or something like that, because that was around 30% there that happened. And then it's afterwards doing damage to us. So I assume that that's how it works. The longer it takes to do something, the more damage that mechanic does to us over time. But just no, 0 danger whatsoever. So, I mean, obviously you're not going to just stand in all these mechanics, but whether or not they are actually something you have to move from, or you're something you're supposed to heal to, you see I just stand in that. Barely took probably like 100% of my health over that period of time, and I just stood in every single one of them. So. And this, this movement here, I'm trying to find some relevance to it, and the only thing I could think of is that he's moving it so you don't have to get hit by 2 rings, and that kind of makes sense. The rings, obviously, they put a dot on you, it seems like, so I think you definitely don't want to get hit by 2 at the same time, maybe, but I just don't know how you dodge them. And surely it's either going to be a healing mechanic, or there's some way to dodge it that I haven't seen, because that's really the only 2 options, right, like in a fight like that. So. To be honest, this fight I don't think I have any interest in. It doesn't look very interesting, but we'll see what it looks like in the higher levels, and it's got some cool voice lines. But Here we go again, back to this. Actually, you know, the voice lines on that last fight, I don't know if you can tell from the footage, but they're really loud. But yeah, here we go again. Our good buddy doing all this stuff again. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that it's like just trying to skip the trash for some reason. I mean, like, I'm just not. I just can't understand that. I don't know if it's just me, if other people agree, but like this, I've never liked trying to skip trash anyway in raids. I mean, in 5-mans, obviously you're skipping it for a reason. But in raids, it's like, okay, I mean, we can kill all this trash. It's going to take like 10 minutes, right? I mean, this LFR, dude. We're literally one-shotting these bosses without knowing a single mechanic. So I just don't really see what the harm in killing the trash is. And I wouldn't mind getting some footage of that. But no, okay, we're just going to do all this. I mean, this just looks retarded, honestly. Like, this is, like, so dumb. It's whatever, but... okay, cool. So now we're going to test the second boss. And I do... the server's, like, crashed or something. I don't know. DC and I can't get back on. But this is a really interesting encounter because all of the mobs on the fight are like the Primus and, you know, the characters from Shadowlands. So there's the Primus there. He's got some crazy ass like primordial looking Primus model. We got the Bastion person, whatever, I can't remember the names, but we got her too, and they're doing mechanics. Necrotic ritual there, interruptible cast. That one, that thing looks like he spawns an ad. We got to kill it, I believe. It kind of makes I've seen a few parts of this fight and it's like, okay, maybe I'm starting to understand it, but that necrotic ritual is channeling on the center of the room there, and if you stand in that, you actually take like 100% reduced healing, and there's a bunch of mobs around, so you have to go around and kill all 4 of them. Whether that's something that, you know, we're gonna do as a whole raid team, or if that's just gonna be a couple ranged DPS doing that, I don't really know. But as you see, I'm gonna stand in this here, and it's gonna be a skull icon there, 100% healing reduction. So maybe each one has a main mechanic, because in this one seems to be hers. Bastion's ward, damage and healing reduced by 100%, but the damage from Rune Carver's something or other that is supposed to bounce, it will no longer bounce, and will also do 50% less damage. So then she's going to jump over there and start blowing wind at us, and we have to dodge these things. Don't know, not really recognizable. I mean, nothing like this rings true for the actual characters that we know of in the expansion. But whatever, they look awesome. I mean, this room, this might be one of the most attractive looking encounters I've ever seen. And now we have the rest of them. I assume Denathrius. I can't actually tell because as I turn around, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, that's definitely Denathrius. DC'd, and that's it. We come back, and that's it. I come back, queue again, and now I'm in a group without a bunch of kids in it, so we're actually able to do the fight, but they were already on this fight, so we're just going to take a look at this one too. Just another big robot guy. He's got a bunch of things. Now that looks like a tank mechanic there. It's like a triangle, and for some reason this Feral Druid has threat, but this guy is the tank. The Blood DK is just going to have threat 100% of the fight, and you see that mechanic there. It's actually going to, I guess because the Feral Druid is doing 20k, that's why it's threat. I don't know what's people doing like so much damage on here. But anyway, it looks like it's like a frontal cone, and it looks like it hits everybody. I'm not exactly sure if you're supposed to dodge it as the tank. I can't really decipher that, but it does look awesome, and it's constant. So I assume on higher difficulties there's going to be more to it, and you're probably going to have to do a tank range, you know, taunt every once in a while. And there's also these like stars on the ground. No, it looks like somebody ran into one there, and it created a puddle. So I don't really know why you're doing that. It's either meant to be closing off space in the room, or there's some reason to soak it. Like, yeah, maybe these circles are part of it. You take the circle to the star. I mean, it looks very similar to the last fight in Tazavesh, that mechanic visually, so it's almost making me think that it's somewhat similar. You have to align the stars with some other mechanic or something like this. But yeah, this frontal thing goes on constantly, and frankly, all 3 of these fights are just pure tank and spank on this in LFR here. So it doesn't seem like there's any actual mechanics that would challenge anybody. Like, you know, there's no there's nothing where you have to like do a lot of different unique things. Like there's no like Ysera or whatever, you know, fight like ANR or something like that I've seen on these 3. They're basic, very just stand still and kill bosses. And again, I assume it's going to massively change. So anyway, here we're doing a new mechanic. Kind of reminds you maybe a little bit of Fetid Devourer. There's going to be 2 ads. I assume on real difficulties there's going to be all 4. And it looks like what you have to do is you have to kill one and then deal with the effects of not killing the others. We also have stacks of that, and I don't know if that was because I was standing in something, because I get a lot of stacks later and I almost die. I think that's because I was standing in something. But yeah, the second one that we didn't kill is this area over here, and then a bunch of ads come out and they die in about 5 seconds. So I don't think, I assume there's going to be more than 2 on real difficulties, but maybe not, maybe even on normal it's like that, and there's just some other reason to kill them. There's all these little things on the ground. I'm trying to run through them at times. They don't really seem to be doing anything. I can't really tell what they're for. They look kind of cool, but they also look kind of glitched on the ground, so maybe they're not supposed to be there. And then it looks like he just kind of pulls them all back, and that's the tank mechanic. He starts slapping people with them. But it looks like they're like his armor or his weapon. He's kind of using them for different things. And it's just like, I'm not sure you're supposed to dodge that. I think you're supposed to face at different angles or something like that. But you see that guy's got that circle, and he uses that circle to explode that star. And I think maybe if you run into the star, it puts the puddle on the ground. That could be the difference. And if you use the circle mechanic and hit the star, it makes the star go away without putting the puddle on the ground. So that's the only thing I could think of with that. But again, a lot of swirls, and maybe the swirls are... Oh, the swirls are... Oh, okay. So the swirls are actually where the stars are spawning. And yeah, so I guess that's probably it. If you place the star on top of the group, then everybody's going to get hit by that puddle. So this is actually a relatively advanced group. They handle the mechanics extremely well. They put them right next to the other set. But I assume those circles are meant to go over there and clear all those out. The other thing I'm thinking is maybe this debuff that I have is making us take more damage from that whole thing. That could be, why the fight might be potentially difficult. But yeah, as I said, there's no tank swapping here on LFR. There's nothing even remotely dangerous. Doesn't look like the guy's health is even going down. Another blood DK though, so I mean, of course, very handsome and articulate class. Really a very attractive pick, especially in Season 3. I think the set bonus is going to be good. You couldn't tell from this footage though. I mean, of course, if you're not tanking, you can't really expect it to be doing anything, but I mean, they changed it. It was insanely broken, and now it just seems like it kind of sucks at first glance, but we'll see what it looks like in 5-mans, because that's obviously where we want it to shine. And then again, we're doing the same thing, but now there's one on one side and one on the other. So it looks like it's kind of moved, but you see I'm standing right into the boss here, and I'm getting absolutely decimated by something. So I guess you can't really attack the boss at this point. You're meant to move on. And now I have a ton of stacks of whatever that is. This is like some kind of chaos or cosmos damage or something like that. Here comes all the ads. Here comes all the lag. We're going to try to grip them. Not really going to do much, and I'm going to try to do something, but yeah, again, just everything's getting melted here, so really not much to be worried about as a tank. I assume you're going to actually have to tank those. I mean, certainly they're not going to put all those ads on a fight, and I assume there's going to be more than just those. They're not going to put all those ads on a fight and not expect the tank to pick them up, but maybe they can just be rooted and killed quickly. So that's effectively the whole encounter. Doesn't seem like there's any actual changes when these phases are happening, and I assume they are based on percentage, because I highly doubt they are phases that are based on time. I don't know, maybe though, you never know. It's very possible, but I would imagine that maybe on like a higher difficulty, the first one there's 3, second one there's 4, something like that. I don't know, but anyway, it's a very cool fight visually. I do like all these mechanics that are on the ground. I like that tank mechanic. This place reminds me a lot of Uldir, but a much, much, much nicer version of Uldir. It's kind of like Uldir and ABT had a baby. The outside areas are just absolutely gorgeous. This is actually about halfway through the raid as well. This is bosses like 5, 6, and 7, if I remember correctly. I think there's 12 bosses this time as well, maybe 11. But I know it's got a lot of different areas in it, and this is, yeah, I mean, first of all, it looks really unique too. You actually see those puddles, they're actually leaving light. You see the puddles off in the corner there and to our right? They're actually like leaving a lot of light, and that is so cool. I'm going to show you what this place looks like with inky black on, because it is something to behold. Of course, I don't really think I would ever raid with inky black on, but it's pretty freaking cool looking. It's actually really shocking how much different it looks like. So now we're just going to take a jaunt around, because this is definitely worth seeing. One of the coolest raids I've ever seen. I can't really figure out, I think that thing there that I'm looking at is supposed to be the teleport to the next area, because they are marked on the map, but they don't go anywhere in the LFR wing, so I assume that's the case. So we're just having a look around, and we are really noticing some amazing art, tons of trash all over the place, and I did actually get a BOE. Well, I didn't get it, but somebody got a BOE, and it was 246 from LFR. So I really don't think that's what LFR BOEs are supposed to be, but it was not actually a BOE. It was a BOP item, so it couldn't be traded. That could also be because of LFR. I don't really know, but it was a very good weapon. It was actually a weapon, and it was a mace. It looked really, really cool. A lot of new models here as well. I don't really know what's going on here because, of course, we just skipped all the trash, so I didn't learn anything. But that's where we actually start. Not there, but where I had the mouse before. And we are, you know, these people that I did it with, they just ran by everything. I assume this group here actually cleared all the trash, but I can't be sure. It does look like there's a lot of trash, and there's these guys like throwing mechanics at people, and you know, this dude was calling it a gauntlet, so I don't really know for sure, but I mean, it's not really that much trash. I mean, I don't know, a lot of trash in a lot of dungeons over the years, so I'm kind of used to it. A lot of raids, I mean, a lot of different types of raids, you know, like Molten Core was like 90% trash, and then you have a raid like TOC and ICC that had almost no trash, so I don't know. It's not that different. And I think trash usually is a precursor for a very grand scale of a raid, right? Because if you have room for this much trash, this means it's probably one of the biggest raids they've ever made. I'll reserve that judgment until we see further. So, but yeah, so I assume that this is where you enter and exit the area. It's kind of just like, I mean, I'm not really sure what the purpose of it is physically. You can jump down here and get on that waterfall, but I died for some reason. I'm not really sure what happened there. Probably a bug. And yeah, this is just something really, really cool. So let's take a look at what things look like with Inky Black on, because I'll tell you, man, they are absolutely gorgeous. It's really just something special. Look at this place. It's so transformative. Like, I would really recommend after you watch this to just go back and look at what this scene looks like without Inky Black on, and then what it looks like with Inky Black. And I actually took some screenshots and posted them in the Discord. So thanks for watching, guys. I have to say, I've not really been that anticipating a raid in a long time. It's really, really gorgeous, and I just can't wait to see it all. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.